Good evening, everyone. Hope that all of you are doing okay today. So, in this video, we are going to deliver a presentation that entitled Improving Reading Comprehension by Using Jigsaw Strategy in EFL Classes. But before we start our presentation, let me introduce our member of group. Next, first, they are Nimade Sukma Dewi. Second one is Ni Kadek Windani. Ida Ayu Made Suryaniti, ni Gusti Ayu Made Dharma Pattni, and last ni Nyoman Tri Gayatri. And for the first material will be presented by Sukma Dewi.
Okay, I will continue the presentation. The first is table of contents. Uh, the first introduction about our material. The second one is learning activities in teaching reading comprehension using Jigsaw strategy, and the third is the benefits, and the fourth is conclusion about our materials. Next. Okay, introduction of reading. Reading has an important role in obtaining information, where in a text, the author and writer will provide the information they want to know. The teacher can teach poetry, especially in improving reading comprehension by using a proper strategy. Furthermore, teacher could choose Jigsaw as a good option in teaching activity. Jigsaw is a cooperative learning model focusing on group work of students in form of small group who work together to maximize learning conditions, to seek learning objective and get maximum learning experience. And the next will present by my friend.
Okay, I will continue the presentation. So in this instructional model, we have divided the activities into three activities. First is pre-activities, main activity, and last post-activity. Next. So in pre-activity is an opening activity, and this activity is carried out not only by a teacher but also with the students. And as you can see here, there are several activities that is usually done by a teacher in class. First is teacher greeted the students and vice versa. Next, a teacher also need to check students' personalities. And furthermore, in pre-activity, students will be asked questions related to the material as a perception. This activity is to introduce the material to the students and as brainstorming so that students are more ready or more prepared to take part in core activities. And students can connect their prior knowledge with the material to be studied. And in the last, a teacher also need to inform the topic and objective of the lesson before continuing to the next step. Overall, pre-activity can improve students' motivation and their students' comprehension throughout the activity. And the next material will be presented by Windan.
The next is the main activity. According to Elliot Aronson, as cited in Ivrianti 2013, there are some steps to teaching English that must be followed if the teacher is using Jigsaw strategy. The first step is the teacher divided the students into 5 or 6 people in a group, and each group should be divided into diverse groups. So, a group are consists of students that has a different gender or abilities. The second step is the teacher choose one student in a group to be a group leader, and usually the group leader is the most mature and has a big responsibility to their group. The next step is the teacher divided the tasks that will be discussed in the group into 5 or 6 parts. So the task is depends on the numbers of the group members, such as the first task is to find the meaning of the poem, the second is to identify the subject, the third is to analyze the speaker, the fourth is to find the central purposes and audience, and the fifth is to analyze the figurative language of the poem. The next step is the teacher show a PowerPoint that contains a poem entitled "A Very Songs" by William Shakespeare. There, the teacher gives students time to read a poem and find the possible answer of their own task. After that, the teacher will instruct the student to make an expert group where each student who has the same task will be gathered in an expert group. The next step is the teacher gives students time to discuss in the expert group. Then the teacher also gives a chance for students to access the material that's still lacking on the internet and share with their friends. After discussing in the expert group, the students are asked to return to their original group. The next step will be explained by my friends.
Okay, I will continue the presentation. The next step is the teacher asks students to present their discussion result in the expert group to the original group. The next is the teacher gives students time to ask with their friend who are presenting the discussion result from the expert group. The next is the teacher observes the discussion process from one group to others. If there are problems in the group, the teacher try to provide an explanation. And the last is the teacher and the last is at the end of the learning session, the teacher gives a quiz to student in order to find out how the student understanding during learning process. The next material is the post activity. Teacher and student will give a feedback about the activity that is already done. Next, teacher will ask student about the conclusion of the activity in class, so the teacher can see whether they already get the subject material or not. Next, Gayatri will be continue the presentation.
Okay, I will continue the presentation. This activity have a lot of benefit for students in teaching activities. First, by implementing group learning, students can build a variety of relationships among students and support various understanding. Second one is collaborative learning is also believed to be one of the most effective forms of teaching in education. Moreover, this skill is also part of the first skill, which is a necessary skill in the 21st century. The last is by applying this learning, students can competently interact with each other, improve their skill in communication, and train attitude when interacting in the implementation of learning. Next. And the last is conclusion about our material. The use of Jigsaw strategy in teaching and learning activities, especially teaching poetry, provide many benefits for students and teachers. Jigsaw technique can develop student critical thinking, student encourage student involvement in discussion, and students become personally responsible for their own learning. Jigsaw strategy will help students understand the meaning of poetry. Students can discuss their difficulties with their peers in expert group because students do not need to solve text problems such as an answering question. This jigsaw technique is very useful for them in the process of reading comprehension. For example, understanding the connected meaning of a poem. It can be concluded that the jigsaw strategy is one of the strategies that can be implemented in the classroom in improving reading comprehension using jigsaw poetry. Okay, that's all about our presentation today. Thank you for your time and goodbye.